I want to start this video by saying congratulations to Donald Trump and the Republican Party and the many Americans who now feel that their vision of this country has a chance to be fully realized. And for the rest of us, let's get to work.
This is a world premiere. This is a world.
I don't believe that in anyone's heart they could still believe that the fate of the world, not even the fate of the country, can be left up to a single individual, or even the totality of elected officials and all of their appointees working round the clock. If we want change, it's up to us. Renowned cultural anthropologist, the late Margaret Mead, said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." We hear that or something similar all the time until it sounds like a broken record. It may as well be a broken record if it's only said as a platitude. We can do it! We can change the world. Today, we need more than platitudes. We need a plan. And it doesn't look like one is coming from the establishment. Not one to address issues like war, the environment, poverty, racism, oppression as it manifests itself all over the world. How do we start to make change? First, you have to decide that you're ready to make a difference, however small, outside of your own private life. You have to step into your role as a citizen. Here are some things to think about. What are your relationships to the people closest to you? Do you know your neighbors? Do you know them by name? Do you know what their concerns are on a day-to-day basis? Have you built trusting relationships with other people in your neighborhood? What do you want to work on? Is there a vacant lot or an alleyway in your neighborhood that needs to get cleaned up? Are there volunteer opportunities to support and maintain valuable community resources like schools, libraries, parks, cultural institutions, and places where your community's history and culture are documented, maintained, and archived? Do you know what's happening in your community that will have impact? Development projects, ballot initiatives, bills, and where might you gather? Where might you come together? Are there places in your community where people can come together to discuss their lives and what resonates most deeply, to discuss your dreams, your fears, and mostly the realities that might be transformed for the better? Could you create such a space? Where might you channel the harnessed energy of your community? Do you know who makes the decisions? Do you have relationships with the people who decide which efforts will be supported and how resources will be distributed throughout your community? This could be your council person, your congressperson, you know, those folks who always show up at random community events just so that they have the opportunity to hear from people like you about your concerns and the concerns of your neighbors, especially when those concerns are presented clearly, rationally, and respectfully. This includes your PTA if you have one, civic associations, church leaders, block clubs. It might just be that person in your neighborhood who's good at bringing people together and organizing block parties and other neighborhood events. Start with low-hanging fruit. Start with a small change that you and your friends and neighbors can accomplish fairly easily. This will help to establish a record of success in community transformation. Turn "we can do it" to "we did it," and then build on that. Are there other groups that are working on the same issues that are impacting your community? Can your small community group become part of a coalition to work on these issues on a larger scale? And finally, if you look around and you don't see any of these things, it might be time for you to get it started. And if you don't feel you know how, there are resources that can help get you started. There are any number of books and web resources where you can learn how to organize and activate your community. I personally am a fan of Saul Alinsky and the late James and the late Grace Lee Boggs. Check out the Citizens Handbook website for an introduction to community organizing. They share community building activities, new ways to govern, large-scale action, grassroots problems and solutions, and they have a library of great resources. None of us needs to feel hopeless, and none of us needs to feel helpless as long as we have the power to educate ourselves and to develop tools and skills to analyze the systems that function in our lives, or the systems that don't function as we envision they might. One person can make a difference, but rarely are we ever just one person. Nothing is ever just anything. That's it for this video. Like it if you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love